Hey, what's going on? It's your boy, Frank Hamilton, online fitness coach. You know, the man with the motto be grinding or be nothing. Welcome to the show. Yo, what's going on? What's going on? It is Coach Frank. Welcome to the show, the Make It Make Sense Understanding Your Fitness Journey podcast. All right. Now, the biggest thing that I like about fitness, and once you really put yourself into fitness, is that you notice how everything within the fitness correlates to life. And once you're able to put the fitness into your regular life, that's when you now have the fitness lifestyle and you see how everything goes together. So, today's episode, I'm going to show the correlation between fitness and your life and how the two work together to, of course, the ultimate goal to help you on your fitness journey, to help you change your life for the better. All right. So, I guess let's see what's current. We got to stay current. The Oklahoma City Thunder just won the NBA championship. I'll be honest, I don't care. I'm a San Antonio Spurs fan, so it really doesn't matter to me. I'm not. Um, I'm a team fan. I was having a conversation with one of my boys the other day, and we were talking about it, and he was saying that he can watch players. Actually, it's two conversations I had, and they were just saying, they like to see the players and the player development and stuff like that. And me personally, I like the spirit of competition. If I'm watching an individual player, then I'll watch those sports and those competitions where it's a one-on-one type thing, tennis, fighting, something like that. But when it's a team versus a team, I want to see the teams win. Like one of the conversations I had, the guy was telling me that, yeah, I only watch the players, and I was like, well, what if you do if the player goes to the bench? Like, what's the, So it's like, I mean, I'm the type of person where I understand that everyone has their point of view. So I get that that's what people are involved in and that's how they view it. But that me personally, I like competition. I like the team. Like my favorite NFL team obviously is the San Francisco 49ers. Now, do I recognize other players in the league are good? Yeah, I don't care because they don't play for the 49ers. I'm a fan of the team. And if a player is on the 49ers right now, he's dope. If he's not on the team anymore, Debo Samuel. All right, cool. Go be good for your other team. I could care less. I'm only focused on my team. So I spun around that whole block or beat around that whole bush just to say, yes, I do recognize that the Oklahoma City Thunder won. I just, in the spirit of competition, congratulations. But other than that, as soon as that game was over, to me, it's like, all right, Spurs, time to get ready for next season because I'm a San Antonio Spurs fan. So I'm ready for them to get ready now that this season is over. We're next season, wipe the slate clean, back to the drawing board, and hopefully next year, it's the Spurs. So anyway, um, what else new is going on? I don't know if many people know, but you should. Though I do live in Phoenix, Arizona, and I was talking to some family yesterday, and as some family member I talk to on a regular basis, so he was asking me how are things going, and I was like, man, Arizona turned it into Arizona. He's like, man, what's the temperature, whatever. And I was like, I think it's like 110. No, I think no. It was 107, around 107. Um, but Arizona getting real. Arizona is how I say it, Arizona. Yeah, something like that. But okay, so it's what we got. Hotness here in Arizona. Oklahoma, no, yeah, Oklahoma City Thunder just won. Um, what happened? Father's Day just passed. I got to speak to my pops. When I went home last time, I didn't get to see him, so I need to. Maybe I'll surprise him. I'll find out when he's. My father's a truck driver. Or maybe I'll find out when he's home again. I'll try to surprise him. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. What else is going on? Let's see. Kelsey and I are my girlfriend are getting ready for this hike in Havasu in July. And so we've just been doing like smaller, shorter hikes to prepare us for that because we've never done anything like that. We did this past Saturday. It was 3.5 hours. Oh my God. Challenging. I'll say that, challenging, especially in the Arizona heat, man. It was, man, I'll say this. If you're hiking in Arizona in the summertime, stay hydrated. It's just the common sense of it. Just stay hydrated. All right, so let's get into the show. Let's see. All right, so we're going to talk about when you're not on the road to your fitness journey, but you're trying to get there, and then the hurdles that are in the way that may keep you from getting to where you want to be, and then like some of the backlash you may be experiencing internally or externally. First of all, you're not lazy. Don't believe that. You're not incapable. That's not the truth either. You just there's a fear of movement when the intended goal is to change yourself, because who you are is who you become comfortable with, and to change that means you're going to have to do things that are outside of who you currently are. So there is a fear in that, in that movement. But that's why you have to make sure that when you do have a goal, it is an honest goal, that no matter how strong the fear is of the action to get there, wanting to get there is still stronger than that. So it's not an issue. So you still go through the process. Like, I always give the example of how I got into fitness and started working out. And I knew nothing at all about fitness, nothing. The only thing I knew was that I no longer wanted to be who I was. So I didn't wait to hire a coach or a trainer or watch any videos or anything like that. I was sitting in the living room with my boys. One of them made a joke about my physical appearance, about why was my chest going backwards. That hurt, and so I just went to the gym. I left. I waited about 15 minutes. I left the house. I went to where my boy lived in Winter Park. Winter Park. I left his house, went to 7-Eleven, bought me a Gatorade, went to, I think at the time we had Vitamin Shop, went to Vitamin Shop. Not sure why, but I heard it was good for you. I bought creatine, read the just instructions, poured it in my Gatorade. And from that moment on, it was, okay, I'm changing. Now, I didn't know how to work out either, and I had no strength. I'll be honest. This is following an accident when I was rear-ended by a drunk driver. I was probably roughly about 145, maybe 150 pounds at 6'2". So I was not the biggest individual. So literally when I started working out, I could only bench press the bar, and it was like 3 sets of 10, and it was challenging. And I was a well-grown man. I was in my late 20s when this happened. It was very challenging to be able to do that. But I just kept building. Now, I went for exactly 365 days. At the end of 365 days, I gained 2 pounds. Um, I did want to quit. I did want to quit. Luckily, as I went to LA Fitness, I was going to cancel my membership. I went to the gym, played a little hoop, walked around, pretended to work out, see some people that I was used to seeing when I was working out. As I was leaving, I ran into a friend of mine, this guy Chris Perkins. Chris, visually, you could tell he worked out on a regular basis. And I asked him, when does he work out? He told me every day, and I told him I'll see him the next day because I'd already been there for a while, right? And that's just how it happened. Now, I've often told the story in regards to wanting to cancel because I feel that after a year, I failed myself because I only gained 2 pounds. Now, keep in mind, within that time frame, although I didn't know how to lift weights. I went from the bar, I went to adding 10s on each side, I went to adding a 25 on each side. I got to the point with 25 and a 5 on each side. And I may, within that year by myself, I may have gotten to a 45 on each side, may have. Now, not proper lifting, but I was able to move that amount of weight in that amount of time. So looking back on it, what I did learn was that for a year, I could fully dedicate myself to the unknown. I knew nothing about fitness. I knew nothing about weight training, working out, anything like that. But one of the things people need to learn is that wanting to change is going to be a mental hurdle first and a mental adjustment first. So that I was able to commit an entire year. Like I was waking up in the morning before work. I was waking up at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym, go work out, take a shower at the gym, take my clothes. I was ironing my clothes the night before, and in that practice, what you learn is that if you prepare for tomorrow the night before, then you're going to go to sleep with intent. When you set your alarm, when you iron your clothes, when you check your schedule, when you um, make sure you have enough gas in your car, when you make sure your lunch is packed for the next day, when you do all of those things today for preparation for tomorrow, that means you're going to bed and you're living with intent. And if you're already living with intent to go do something, why not live with the intent of making you better? I mean, because you've already shown that you can serve a purpose. You can set the alarm to get up at the appropriate time to be able to do what you need to do, whether it's get the kids out, get ready for work, things like that. But why not set that alarm 30 minutes earlier to change your intent now to work out, to wake up and maybe do a 20-minute jog before the usual time when you would wake up. It's just when you go to bed, make a goal. So every night, when I was working out in the morning, every night I prepared the night before, because if I prepared, that means I woke up. What are my excuses? My food is packed, my clothes are ready, my gas is in my car. I have everything I need. I accept excuses that are really not valid. So it's get up and go. So in when you just so thank goodness this is a show and I can correct that. So I've always thought that when you go to sleep with intent, like I said, you wake up with a purpose, and that purpose is going to flourish and it's going to grow day by day, because everything doesn't happen all in one day. You got to build that consistency. You got to build that confidence in your actions to keep pushing you forward. All right. Because too many people, they won't think about today. They're thinking about tomorrow. They're sitting on these dreams and these goals, and like, I want to lose 30 pounds, and I want to do this and I want to do that. Okay, so what steps are you taking to do it? Whenever I do a consultation with a potential client, I ask them what their goal is, and I ask them what are they doing to push that goal forward. What are they doing to accomplish that goal? Because they have their goal before we talk, before they meet me, they have their goal. So what are you doing now if this goal is that important? I'm not doing anything yet. Well, what's going to change now? Like, what's going to make you work now? If you haven't been doing anything for this goal, what's going to change now? Now, we're not saying that, well, I'm not saying that nothing will change you. I'm just saying, let's make sure that we have something in mind that no matter what, I'm going to go ahead and do that work. Now, it can be scary. So what? Let it be scary. Just go ahead and do the work. Okay. It happens that way. Like I said, I was a grown man. I was working out in the gym. Of course, there were kids, high schoolers, things like that knew more about gym and fitness than me, way stronger than me. But I didn't care. Didn't care at all. Went in there, did my work, focused on me. When you're in the gym and the goal is you don't even notice everything that's around. Like, I remember one time I was working out, and a guy tried to like point out some girl to me. And they was like, bro, look at that girl over there. Look at that girl over there. And I was like, hey, man, look, I'm the size of girls right now. I don't have time for that. I got a workout to do, and that's when you're focused on you, you don't notice everything that's going on. Now, you hear things like, yeah, but when I was focused on, when I go to the gym, I'm focused on me. I don't have time for what someone else may be doing, unless they are using a station or something that I need to use. And I can politely ask, how long they're going to be on that. But other than that, if your goal is your goal and you woke up with an intent to serve your purpose, then people around don't have an issue with what you're doing. You're just going to go ahead and focus on that. Um, and that's one of the things you really got to focus on when it's important about the gym. And that's one of the current things now. People are going to the gym, and why are you looking at me? And it's like, you're in public. People can see you in public. People are going to look. And I'll admit, when I first started working out, again, I went from not mentioned at all, right? Not noticed. And then I kept the consistency. And then I obviously visually, I was looking different than other people in the gym, right? And I had this coach, Monica, who looked awesome. And I would explain to her, like, it makes me nervous when people are staring at me. And she was like, well, Frank, you have to understand that the way you look, you have something that other people want. So they're going to watch you to see how you do it. Not everyone is going to be strong enough to come ask you a question, but they're going to watch to see what you do. And that's one thing I express to all of my clients. When your friends, when your family see you being disciplined and dedicated and consistent with your work, they are going to watch you. They may not say anything. They may not ask you any questions, but they are going to watch you. There are so many people in the gym when I started working when I was moved here to Arizona, that didn't really know me. I didn't know a lot of people. And I had been working out by the time I moved here, maybe 2, 3 years. I was at a fit point. I was still building and growing because I still had that goal, but I was at a fitness point where people saw me and knew I was like somebody that went to the gym on a regular basis. So um, what was the point of that? Oh, so when I was saying that, it was people's, like, even people that I grew up with. When I would have conversation. Well, I moved to Arizona. Okay, that they didn't know me at first, but it's I don't mind talking to people. So when people would hear me talk, they would realize, oh, this guy, he's cool with talking. And some of the conversations I have with people here, some of the first things that were said were, man, I've been watching you for a while. Listen, if you're in the gym and you're about your business, this is male, female, whatever. Like, because I chose my first coach, Monica, because I used to stare at her because she was strong, she was fit, and I had questions. So, and she's the one that taught me, Frank, people are going to stare, people are going to look. So, if you're one of those folks that's in the gym and you're constantly like trying to, degrade people that are looking at you, that means that your goal in the gym is for people to look at you. Because if your goal in the gym was to build muscle and to build you, you won't even notice that. I mean, the gym is full of mirrors. You're gonna catch glances of eyeballs looking at you here and there. But if you're focused on your workout and you have the time to notice that someone is staring at you, how are you focused on your workout? All right. If you're about your business when you get to the gym, you already know people are going to look at you. Once Monica told me that, when I went to the gym, I knew it. I didn't care. It changed my confidence because now that I know people are looking, now I can hold my head up instead of shying away from these people that I hope don't see me. I know they do. And so I just started speaking. Hey, what's going on? How y'all doing? Hey, what's up? And then people started saying, oh, that's a nice guy. That's a good person. That's a gym person. And that's what happens in the gym. But anyway, that was just kind of like a little segue because I'm just kind of tired of people trying to act like the gym isn't what it is. People can see you at the gym. Stop trying to, talk down on people because they see you. Focus on your workout. You won't notice anything else, right? Um, but that's also leads into one of the things that people have when they go to the gym. Is the fear of judgment. Um, what are other people going to say? Listen, with my clients, we go through who you are right now, who you were, who you're going to be. And so for my clients, their only fear really is not putting in the work, not getting their workout in, not logging anything. But it's all with a purpose, right? So if it's going to be scared to change yourself, and it should be scared to change yourself, but it shouldn't be something that you run away from if you have a proper goal. And once you have that honest motivation or that proper goal, your why, whatever it is you want it to be, then it's going to be very, very hard to not work on that. You know, some of the things that you can do to help make sure that you stay on track, if you're not wanting to hire a coach and you just want to know, like, how can I maintain this fitness lifestyle on my own, just start. Like I said, when I first started, I was worked out for a year. I didn't know anything, but I did learn that I can wake up in the morning. I can commit myself to 2 hours of a workout every day. I can commit to eating correctly. I can commit to having a goal, not knowing how to accomplish it, but I can commit to having a goal. And I still have that exact same goal. And that is, I want to go to the beach. I want to go to a pool. I want to take my shirt off with confidence. Now, that goal pushed me into being a fitness coach, pushed me into being a professional bodybuilder. But even now that I don't compete anymore, my goal is still the same. I want to be able to take my shirt off with confidence, and that's what propels me, and that's what pushes me, and that will always be my honest motivation. Health and everything comes along with it because I understand what the process is, but my driving force is building and maintaining that confidence that I have in me, and that accomplishment of work that I put in me, that I can see that I did that to me. Like, all of that happened because I put in that work. So that will always be my honest motivation. That will always be my key. Like, it will always be the thing that I want to do. You know, and then one of the things, once I got into fitness and I was maintaining my fitness, there was, no matter what I did, I was going to be fit, right? When I got into bodybuilding, like I said, I love the spirit of competition. I didn't know. I'm one of those people where I hate to lose more than I like to win. So even though I didn't know anything about the sport, the first show I did was men's physique. I didn't know anything about the division because it was right when men's physique was just starting. It may have been may have been second or third year of the division actually being in existence. And I did my first show. Um, let's see, what I get fourth. Yeah, I got fourth place on my first show. That sucked because I didn't get first because my coaches told me that I would get first place. That didn't happen, so I felt like I lost. My second show was a national show, and that was like to get my pro card. Now, the way I always explain how bodybuilding goes is you have your regional shows, and those qualify you for a national show, and then a national show will allow you for a pro title or a pro qualification. So a regional show I did initially here in Phoenix, anybody can do those. You sign up with a local promoter, you do those shows. If you finish, depending on your division or whatever the rules are, top two, top five, or whatnot, you qualify for a national show. I always say it's like playing. If you play high school basketball, is a regional show. After high school, you then go to college. That's a national show, and then after a national show, you go to the pros. That's the NBA, WNBA, whatever. So that's bodybuilding, regional, national, and then pro. Um, so I did my first regional, fourth place, first national, got 15, I think, out of like 40 something guys. And this is my second show. So although I didn't win first place, I won in a sense of I can hang with all of these people. I beat this many people, 30 plus guys that all came to Vegas for this goal. I beat that many guys. And I beat the dude that beat me in Florida. I mean, in Arizona, my first regional show, I beat him. So that was fun also. Um, And then I came, let's see, then I went to Pittsburgh, did a national show. Um, really lost that one. And then it was at that point I said, okay, I'm never going to lose again. I came back to Arizona. I got a new coach, this coach Jill. We had a game plan. We had a preparation point. So it was always to gain some weight. Um, we put on weight, changed the training. My mindset was going to that year was, if I don't get my pro card this year, I'm quitting. I set that last show as a deadline. This will be my last show as an amateur competitor. Now, it can either be my last show as an amateur competitor and my last show, period, or it can be my last show as an amateur competitor. I earn my pro card and then I go on from there. But when I set the fear of not being able to compete as my deadline, my trainings were totally different. Like my coach she gave me, I think, 45 minutes of cardio a day. I was doing 3 hours a day. I was doing an hour in the morning, hour in the afternoon, hour at night. I was working out maybe 2, 3 times a day. I was eating all my food. It was in my head. It was this or nothing. It got to the point where I had a workout partner, Enrique. He was my partner almost my entire career of competing. And he, in 10 plus years, he's only given me 2 compliments. And one of those was before going into that last amateur show, where it was about 2 weeks out, I think. I was like, hey man, I think I might look all right. And his compliment was, yeah, you look pretty good. But to me, that meant a lot because that actually meant that I was doing something, right? So we went into the show with so much confidence, and I got second place. I got my pro card. Like, and the thing is, I won before I got there. There were people, like there was a guy I knew at one of the gyms where I worked. There was a trainer there. This guy Striker. He's an IFBB pro, also open. And I told him, like, when I got back, I was like, "Yo, Strike, man, yo, I got my pro card." And he was like, "Yeah, I knew you were gonna get it, Frank." I was like, "He's like, how'd you know? You didn't even say anything." He's like, What is there for me to say?" He's like, I watched you every day putting in the work. I saw you changing. I knew it was gonna happen. For me to say something might change the way you worked." I was like, "All right." But that fear of not being able of losing and losing the option of competing again, other people saw it in me before I even got to the show. I mean, it was there. It was fantastic. It was a fantastic feeling to work for a goal and actually be there and get it. Like, and with bodybuilding, it's one of those things where you're judged on your body, like one of the most, intimate things possible. And to come out on top, it was a great feeling, but it was that fear. And like a lot of people ask me, Frank, how did you get your pro card? And I tell them, because I told myself I would. And like, it's just that simple. I was like, yeah, like, so you told yourself you would, and the judges voted you. I was like, no, no, no. I told myself I would. And with that, I told myself that I had to do the cardio, I had to do the workouts, I had to eat my food, I had to do all those things because I told myself I was going to get my pro card. Just because you tell yourself you have a goal, that doesn't take away from the fact that you have to do the work to get there. It doesn't change anything at all. So I set that fear as a deadline, and it worked. And it worked, and it inspired other people. And I tell people, if you want it, you'll work for it. If you won't work, if you're not going to work for it, you don't want it. I remember I was training a client once, and she was in the mix of trying to do strength training, but still had like outside fitness interests like yoga and stuff like that. Whereas in between each set, she was trying to do yoga poses and things like that. And we're doing an exercise. I remember her asking me, like, "Man, Frank, why can't I get this exercise?" And I was like, "Because you don't want to." And my delivery may have been off, and she was like, "That was rude." I was like, "Well, it's the truth. I understand you may not have wanted to hear it, but if you wanted to do that, then you would focus more on the form of the exercise that you're struggling with instead of trying to do things in between your sets that are distracting you from that." Now, I'm not saying I have a problem with you being, still trying to maintain your fitness, but, the answer to your question, why you're not able to do that, is because you don't want to. One of the exercises I do with my clients, especially based on form, like basic things like, keep your shoulder down. They'll like, "How do I keep my shoulder down?" I do this exercise with everybody. I was like, "Raise your right arm." All right. So why'd your arm raise? I'm like, "Because you told me, Frank." I was like, "No, no, 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 no. Why did your arm go up?" because you told no, no, no. Why did your arm go up? And it's rare, no one ever gets it because they're thinking it's going to be, I don't know what people are thinking in that moment, but I tell them no, 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 because you told you. I heard once, be careful of what you tell yourself because you're always listening, which means that can also mean that, if you're doing an exercise and you keep raising your shoulders, man, how do I keep my shoulders down? And so if you're telling yourself to keep your shoulders down, when your body starts doing something that you're telling it not to do, then you notice it. With me, the process and understanding the steps is very simple. That's why for me it always has to make sense. Like, somebody always wants to give me a tip in the gym, but I'll always ask, and I always tell my clients, people are gonna try to jump in and try to change you, but when they do try to give you a tip, ask them why. Why is the exercise you're telling me about? Why is that exercise going to increase or maintain time under tension in the muscle fibers that I'm working? Why? And if they can't tell you, then just let it go. But what are you telling you? I have to do this. So if when your form is off, and that's going to be the most humbling and honest things you can do on your workout. Like when after a year I looked at myself, it was easy for me to tell that I hadn't grown the way I wanted to. And so I wanted to make a change. I was going to quit. That's not the change you want to do, but you got to make a change. You'll see people working out for years with no change. And it's like, what's your goal? Like, what are you trying to, what are you telling yourself? When you look at yourself, are you telling yourself you look better than yesterday? Like with me, I am always completely honest in everything I do. Like I know I don't. So that's why I work every day because I also know that there's no way you can look better yesterday than you will after you put in work today. It's just not possible. So as long as you put in work today, you'll always look better than you did yesterday. And that's the goal for having a better tomorrow is looking better than yesterday, a more productive today, and then a more progressive tomorrow, is what the goal would be. Right. And then when you're training, track your effort, not your ego. Like it's very easy to, especially nowadays, to fall into the generals of what everybody does, right? Because everybody does very similar things. Everybody's wearing the same clothes, listening to the same music. Everybody's carrying the same backpacks into the gym, which I really don't understand. They have locker rooms. It's a lock. It's cheaper. Well, anyway, but everybody's doing all these same things, but no one's really monitoring their effort of trying to change. Like it's so weird. Like I go to the gym and it's so funny to me. I remember I was talking with a client, female we were training, and she was asking, she was looking at someone with another female with like short shorts, and she was asking me if I had a problem with that. I was like, nah, I don't care. People can do whatever they want to do, but my question is, and I asked her, why would you come to the gym where the goal is to increase, muscle definition and tone and things like that, wearing the least amount of clothes possible and not displaying any muscles whatsoever. Like, what is the point in that? Guys and girls alike, like, what is the point? Like, and she was like, I don't know, Frank. I guess I was like, all right, then if you can't answer, like, if you can't give a reason to why to do something, then just don't do it. Period. If you can't say this is why I'm doing it, then just don't do it. It's just that simple. All right. So I really do hope we got with someone here. We resonated. We brought some information. Hey, but you beautiful overthinking individuals, stop. Keep the main thing, right? How do you push forward? Tell yourself to go to sleep with intent. Have a program set to whereas this is my workout, this is my diet, this is what time I wake up, this is what time I go to work, these are my clothes. Go to sleep with intent, wake up with a purpose, and move forward. All right. So here's the challenge. All right. Let's have a challenge today. Whatever you have been afraid to do it by Friday. And then message me when it's done so we can talk about it and I can and I can applaud you and I can celebrate you. All right. So let's just go. If you like the content, definitely follow here, follow there, follow there. Follow me on Instagram, FranklyPHit underscore fat loss expert. And always remember the motto, which is whoop, be grinding or be nothing. Peace.